Guten Tag, everyone. Sorry, the top of my head is kind of cut off. I don't know where my tripod is at the moment, so I'm making do with a Lego box and the top of a bakery cardboard thing. So it has been quite some time before I made my last PCS to Germany tips videos. It's actually been 4 months exactly, and I need to get back into that. I met a subscriber of ours at the commissary the other day, and she was so sweet. She was like, "Oh, you're Sharon, right? You have the YouTube channel." And I'm like, "Yeah." And she was like, "You have no idea how much your advice and tips on moving here got us here." So I felt, kind of honored that what I said helped her in her situation, and it just made me realize I need to make more of those. So I kind of took a break from that, but I'm back. This time, this is all about moving to your new home. I have my notebook here full of notes that I've taken, kind of recapping everything that we went through, and basically I'm going to share those with you. So number 1 is a paperwork check. So you're about to leave. It's starting to get stressful. The final countdown is here. It's starting to become more real. Possibly for me it was when all of our stuff was gone and all we had left was our luggage in our house. I mean, that's when it really became real to me, and we left a few days later. So if you're around that time right now, or you're about to be in that time, these tips are going to help you for what's to come next. So number 1 is the paperwork check. Make sure all of your paperwork is completed and you have extra copies of all of that paperwork. The PCS binder that I've talked about in the last PCS tips video, and also on my old channel, Sharon Posh, in the playlist Journey to Germany, you will find the layout of my PCS binder. So if you have no idea what I'm talking about, be sure you go over there and check that out, or I'll just link it down in the comments below along with the last PCS tips in case you missed that. So with your PCS binder, that's where all of this important paperwork should be. And when you are starting to pack and get everything ready to go on the plane, I'm assuming that you're going to have backpacks or bags for your carry-ons. And that's really important because that's where your PCS binder needs to go. It needs to go in someone's backpack. For us, it was for my husband. He's a lot more responsible with that type of stuff. So, plus his book bag is more heavy duty than mine is. It has a lot of secret hidden compartments. So obviously some really important paperwork is going in there. So you want to be sure that you kind of have them in a place that is not going to be easily accessible for anyone else to get into. I mean, I'm sure you're going to feel someone pull a heavy binder out of your backpack and run with it if they decide to do that. Who knows? You never know these days with people. So everything in your PCS binder should be inventory lists from the movers with all of your stuff, up-to-date medical and dental records from everyone. You want to make sure that you have hard copies, everything that you had to have done in order to PCS here to Germany. Like, for instance, me, I had to have a deep cleaning, I had to have some work done, I had to have my wisdom teeth removed. Again, I want to reiterate this, you don't have to have your wisdom teeth removed, but for me, in my case, I did. And it was only just 2 of them, so no biggie. So all of that, especially medical records for your kids, if you want to get them over here and get them enrolled in CYS as soon as possible. CYS, if you don't know, is Child Youth Services. So basically that's going to get them into sports, into childcare, whether it be, half day care, full day care, hourly care. You're really going to want to make sure that you have that paperwork in place, and even copies of that in case you lose it. Your orders, very, very big thing. Make sure you have several copies of your orders on you at all times, because sometimes people will ask for them and then you give it to them and they forget to give it back. So make sure you always have copies of them, including the original ones. As far as the original ones go, we put ours in one of those page protector type things, so like you put in a binder, just because it would be more protected, and we knew that those were the original ones, just to kind of keep them separate from the other ones. Also, birth certificates, marriage certificates, social security cards, your ID, military ID, passports. These things are things that people will tell you, oh, you don't need to travel with those. Well, when you're PCSing to another country and moving there on military orders, you have to have those with you at all times. They have to be with you in a secure place, like I said, PCS binder, and keep those all together where you know where they're going to be as soon as you're about to get off the plane. Because the first thing that happens when you get off the plane is you walk up this bridge and you're automatically at customs, and they want to see forms of ID and your passports that you're allowed to be there. So for me, again, my husband is more responsible than I am at keeping up with stuff like that. So he knew exactly where they were. He had them pulled out and ready when we stepped off the plane, and it made the process so much easier, because obviously everyone getting off this plane is trying to get into Germany, so they're having to show their passports and everything. And for us, they actually had a cubicle designated for military families, so it was a lot smoother because those people could go to that line, and you know, obviously the agents knew what to look for, and it was really a really smooth process, although we were in the very back because we were in the back of the plane with all the other families. College and high school transcripts. So if you are currently in college, if you plan on starting college once you get out here, they have amazing college programs here. If you haven't heard of UMUC, or University of Maryland University College, that's what my husband uses now. It's both online and in class. They do have classes here on the Post in Stuttgart, which is amazing. So it's kind of like the best of both worlds. You have online and you have actual class. My husband does a lot better in class than he does online. So in that case, make sure that you have those transcripts before you come over here. Get them while you're in the States, and it's a lot easier to get them instead of having to try to pull teeth to get them from across the world. Confirmation paperwork of shipping a vehicle. This is super important because the stuff that they give you at the vehicle processing center when you drop off your vehicle, if that whole process is stressful for you, like for us, we had to drive down the street to wash our car again because there was still wax on it. They didn't want that. It was just a really stressful day that day. And we made sure still to put that paperwork in our PCS binder, and thank goodness we did, because there is a code on there that is pretty much your tracking confirmation. So you can track exactly where your vehicle is, and it gives you kind of a rough estimate as to when it's going to be there. And if you shipped your vehicle early enough, you shouldn't have as much of a problem, because more than likely your vehicle will get there before you do. So that doesn't really apply to you, but still keep that paperwork just in case, because you can call the vehicle processing center and ask them about the update on your vehicle, and sometimes they know more information than we see on our end. And I'll get to all of that in a minute, but make sure you keep that. Also, extra vehicle keys. Whatever extra keys you have, keep those with you too. I know it's kind of hard to put those in a PCS binder that's already like super thick, but just keep them with you. Don't lose them. And going off of that, send back your plates to whatever state your car was registered in the States, because it's going to be a lot easier to send them while you're in the States back to the DMV than it is to send it from over here. Trust me, that's what I'm going through now. I forgot to send my Virginia plates back, and I have to do that. Virginia is pretty anal about their license plates. And also going off of that, be sure that you cancel your registration. I can't remember if we canceled ours right before we left or if it was once we got over here. I will say in the in-processing center building, there is a there's a DSN phone, and basically what a DSN phone is it lets you call back to the States free of charge. There is only one phone in the office. They do limit your time to 10 minutes if there is someone waiting behind you. Most of the time there's really not. And there's also one in the hotel on Panzer. If you were going to Stuttgart and you're in the hotel on Panzer, there's one downstairs in the lobby, which is amazing. You can call back to the States and get all of that paperwork done that you forgot to get done. But I'm pretty sure we canceled ours. Number 2, luggage. Okay, so this is the fun part because I actually enjoyed shopping for luggage. So I'm sure by now you might already have your luggage all in place. So once your flight is confirmed, call the airline directly who you're going to be flying with. For us, we flew from California to Atlanta on a Delta flight, and then from Atlanta to Germany we flew Patriot Express, I believe. So I called Delta and I asked them how many bags we were allowed per person on military orders. So when you call them, make sure you mention you're on military orders, because that makes a world of difference. They have a separate thing for families on military, because obviously we are taking up our whole lives and moving on military orders. There's really not a lot we can do about that. So they are kind of lenient on how many bags you get. For us personally, we got 4 bags per person. So we had like 12 suitcases and bags. So it was great. A lot of luggage to carry around, but still great. Going off of luggage, for kids, okay, this is a big thing. Bring small toys or books that you can fit in a suitcase for your hotel stay. Because your hotel, if it's like where we stayed on Panzer in Stuttgart, it was a really nice hotel. They had a playground in the back of the hotel. They had like a sandbox and everything, so it was a nice little playground. We couldn't play on the school's playground across the street just because that belonged to the school, and we obviously were not in that school yet. That's where Audric will be going to school this kindergarten. We brought stuff, you know, small toys that they absolutely loved that they didn't want to part with. We brought a sand bucket and some shovels for the sandbox. We brought some soccer balls that we deflated before we left. Just different things, frisbees, and it really did come in handy because that's how we met a lot of our friends, was on the playground. While the kids were playing, and you know, there were other kids out there their age playing. One of our really good friends who, they were at the hotel when we were, and they happened to move to the same town we live in. They became friends that way, just from playing on the playground, and I'll get to that in a minute. Another thing, pack a carry-on with their favorite small toys, tablets, etc. I kind of went out of the box and I was trying to find some things that they weren't used to. Like for instance, this is the only thing I can find from our flight, but this is something that I picked up at Dollar Tree, and it's my felt book of games. There's another one that has different things, but there's you know, tic-tac-toe pieces in here for them to play tic-tac-toe on the plane, and for their felt, they're not going to move around a lot. This was like a memory card game. They can play checkers if they want. There was like a picture puzzle that they could put together. So they had a lot of fun with that. This is one of the X's from tic-tac-toe. But so each one of them had a different one of those. We also bought fake passports at Dollar Tree, which I thought was super cool for us because one of them has like you place a sticker on where you've been, or you place a sticker on where you want to go. It was really cool. Also around that time, Christmas stuff was out. Like I said, we got here right before Christmas. So they had these little tin, like the little tin lunch boxes that had like reindeer on them. And I bought one of those packs of the magnetic letters that people put all over the fridge. Currently the letters are all over our house right now. But I packed those in there, and it was kind of a surprise for them because they didn't know it. I put them in their backpacks, and so when they opened it, there were airplanes in there, there were letters, and obviously the letters stuck to the metal. And they had a blast with those. Those were like their favorite toys, and it wasn't very loud unless they like shook them, obviously, which they really didn't. But come up with like creative ideas, search on Pinterest things that they can do on a flight just to keep them busy. And going off of that, we had an overnight flight. So we left Atlanta at around, I want to say 6:30. So I can't remember if we flew 12 hours or if it's just 9 hours total. Because it took 3 hours to get from California to Atlanta, and then another like 9 hours maybe to get to Germany. I can't remember now. But basically it was an overnight flight. So they had dinner and then they just passed out. They passed out asleep. They obviously had the screens in the seats for them to watch movies, so they enjoyed that. Another thing, buy them headphones, like the actual headphones that go around their ears. That's going to help with, you know, the loud engines taking off if they're not used to it. Also, for their tablets, when you don't want the people around you hearing the bubble games and all the stuff that they're watching. And also, obviously, for the movies. That's what really put my kids to sleep, just sitting there with the headphones on, watching the movies. And another thing I want to talk to you guys about, melatonin. So we were not planning on doing the whole melatonin thing, and I really wanted to talk to their pediatrician about it before we left. And their pediatrician was like, you know what, go for it. They have children's melatonin now. It's not a heavy dosage for them. It's just going to help them relax, calm down, and go to sleep on the flight. And it did. They were asleep before wheels went up in Atlanta. They were falling asleep, and they stayed asleep for a long time, surprisingly. Car seat rollers. I don't know if you guys have seen these, and I wish I could find ours. I think they're upstairs in the attic. But they're these little, they're gray things. I bought them online at Target. They're like $40 some, and I bought 2 of them, so kind of pricey, but they were so worth it. If you have 2 kids in convertible car seats, just do yourself a favor and get them. If you have all this luggage, all these backpacks you have to carry, you have 2 kids. I mean, we had a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, and there was just no way we were going to be able to carry the car seats, our luggage, like push it on the cart, keep up with the kids. There was no way it was going to happen, so it was definitely worth the investment. So basically, they're just these little gray things. The bottom part folds out. The seat goes on it. There's like a ratchet strap type thing that goes around like through the seatbelt part of the seat. You tighten it up, and then the handle is adjustable, kind of like a suitcase. And you just prop them back and put them in the car seat and roll them around. They loved it. Absolutely loved it, and it saved us so much stress. And going off of that, car seat covers, if you plan to check them with luggage or at the gate. I know a lot of people are kind of iffy on this because obviously you don't want your child's car seat to get beat up while being moved around on the plane and everything. So a lot of people do invest in car seat covers, and that is awesome. I completely agree with that. And then some people just check the car seats at the gate if they don't need them. For us personally, they bought us 4 tickets, so we were able to use the car seats on the plane, and it really did help with them falling asleep because they were used to their car seats, so they just passed right out. No problem. Okay, this is for you parents of babies. Do not stress, okay? I know it is so stressful. I have been that mom, literally in tears, just trying to get my kids down the aisle with their car seats. Some generous man one time helped me. He saw that I was by myself when I was flying alone with the kids, and he got his stuff in his seat, and he's like, I'm coming back to help you. And he did. He came back, grabbed a car seat, installed it for me. I checked it, but it was just so sweet that they did that. And the flight attendants are there for you to help you. That's why they're there. They're there to make sure everything goes smoothly. I know here lately we've been hearing some crazy stories about the airlines and what happens on the airplanes because cell phones are our new best friend to record all this stuff going down. But seriously, do not stress out. Your baby has just as much of a right to be on that airplane as anyone else does. Babies cry. It does not matter if some business guy is trying to work on something and he can't hear because of a screaming baby. And I know in my situation and the way I am, I would feel really, really bad. And it just stressed me out even more. But they're babies. They're going to cry. It's unfamiliar. They're not used to it. They have to deal with the pressure in their ears taking off, which leads me to my next point. But have a bottle ready. And the same thing with toddlers. Have something ready. Buy a bottle of water after you get through security. Fill it up. Have it ready for takeoff, because once they take off, you know, your ears start popping. They don't like the noise. It's going to help them so much. And the flight attendants, like I said, they're there for you. They have dealt with crying babies before. They know how to calm you down. Just let them help you. Let them help you. I'm a very hard person to let someone help me. Don't be stubborn. Let them help you. Don't care what other people think. about your baby crying. It's nerve-wracking, I know, but I see these little things that I kind of want to do on our next flight, which our kids are getting older, so I don't know if they would really need it, but there's I saw someone who wrote a note, and it was from the baby, and it was basically saying, I'm sorry, this is my first flight, I'm not used to all of this, so in the chance that I cry or I disrupt you, here are some earbuds, you know, the plugs that you put in your ear, and also some candy. So the mom would give them to people around her, which I think is so awesome. Like, that's such an incredible, generous idea, just to kind of get on people's good side. Like, I get it, it's a baby. Okay, going off of that. Have your important documents in a place you know where they are in one of your carry-on bags or backpacks. Because as soon as you get off the plane, you will be going through customs. You literally walk on this bridge, and then as soon as you're inside the building, you turn up this hallway, or at least that's how it is here in Stuttgart. And right there is customs. So you cannot do anything until you go through there. So as soon as you got off the plane, you will be going through customs. So your passport and forms of ID are required before you can get your luggage. And as I said earlier, they had like a military area for military families to go through a little bit quicker, just to, you know, start the process of getting their tons of baggage, because obviously they're moving here from another country. Number 3, before and during the flight. Okay, if you'll be flying overnight with your kids, talk to your pediatrician about child safe melatonin, which I just talked about. The loudness of the plane and the unfamiliarity of flying may already be too much within a process, so add that to a couple tired, cranky toddlers, and you have a pretty stressful cocktail on your hands. And it's okay to get a Bloody Mary before you get on that plane. It's okay, mama. Trust me. Get your kids excited while you're waiting at the airport. Show them the planes outside. Let them look at the planes. Talk about, you know, oh look, there's the pilot. Oh look, they're getting the plane ready. And for me, I let them watch YouTube videos while we were sitting there of planes taking off and landing, just so they could see what our plane was going to be doing. And that just made them so excited. Like, they wanted to get on the plane, like, right then. And also keep them out of their car seats. If you're just sitting there, don't have them just stay in their car seats, because they're going to be on that plane for a while. So make sure that they're getting up, they're running around, they're exploring, just kind of getting that energy out while they are not sitting on a plane for several hours. But going off of that, you can take them to the back of the plane where the flight attendants are, because they have a pretty large area back there for you to just, you know, get your kids up, let them walk around, stretch their legs, stretch your legs. My husband went back there several times with the kids to grab some coffee and talk to the flight attendants and let the kids just walk around and do their thing. So when it's safe and the fasten seatbelt sign is off, let them do that. Let them stretch out their legs if they're awake before putting them back in their car seat. Here's another one. Make German friends on the plane. More than likely, a lot of the people on the plane are going to Germany because they live there. My husband is a very talkative, chatty person. He loves to talk to people, and I love that about him because I'm not so much. It takes me a while to get warmed up to someone and really start a conversation. But for him, he can make friends with anyone just like that, like complete stranger, he's friends with them. And that's what he did, and I love that because I was eavesdropping to his conversation because my son and I were on the window seat, and then John and my daughter were like across the aisle from us. So I could kind of hear their conversation, and they were, you know, giving us tips about Germany, about the Stuttgart area, because they lived here, and it was just really nice to be able to talk to them before we were even in the country and getting tips on where we were going to be living for the next 3 years. Also, get in touch with your sponsor to finalize what time your flight will arrive, where to meet, preferably at your baggage claim, and maybe even have him grab a couple luggage carts to be ready to load up your luggage, because like I said, we had like 12 large hard shell suitcases and a couple more bags on top of that, so we had a lot. And thankfully our sponsor and our co-sponsor came with them. They were there waiting for us with the carts, ready to go, which was amazing in my book, because by the time I stepped off that plane, jet lag had already started setting in, and I will get to that in a second. I was a zombie. I was trying to be friendly. It was just, it was definitely interesting. Also, let your sponsor know how many bags total you have so he can get the appropriate size vehicle. Our sponsors had to rent a van on post. They should already know how to do that if they're your sponsor. It's a pretty large van. It's one of those really tall vans, and it had plenty of room for our stuff. So let him know how many bags you have, and he'll go ahead and organize all of that for you. So this is something that I don't know too much about because we don't have pets, but if coming over with your pets on the same flight, they give you time to stay with them before they take them back. So this is before you get on the plane. And then they should be waiting for you while waiting for your luggage. So once you get off the plane, they should be there kind of around your luggage. They usually have like an area off to the side for the dogs. Usually you can hear them barking and they're whining and they're wanting their mommy and daddy. So as much as you want to just run over there and see how they are, get your bags first and then go check on your dog and everything. Let him out. Give him love because he made the same grueling trip that you did. And if your pets are arriving before you, make sure the arrangements are in place for your sponsor or pet group to pick them up, along with them having all of the proper vet paperwork. So like I said, I don't have pets. I have asked questions to other people regarding this just so I can kind of give you guys an idea. But sometimes things happen to where either your dog is too big or they don't have enough room on the flight that you're on, and they have to send it like a day before or right before your flight. So just make sure that you have someone over here. There are pet groups that do just that for military families. They will pick up the pet, keep them safe, feed them, everything, have them ready for you when you get here, which I think is amazing that there are people out there who do that, because it's a pretty stressful time anyways, but having someone, just knowing that you have someone to take care of your pets before you even get here is pretty awesome. And last but not least, make sure you have weather appropriate clothes readily available in a bag somewhere you'll know where they are. This was a huge thing for me. John thought I was crazy when we were in California packing up all this winter stuff in this one big bag with all of our winter coats, our boots, our hats, our mittens, our scarves, and he just laughed at me. We're coming from 80-degree sunshine and going into winter in Germany. I knew what I was talking about. So we are getting off the plane, walking up the bridge, and the bridge is enclosed. It's glass, but it's enclosed, and I could feel the coldness surrounding us. And I'm like, yep, that's the first bag I'm gonna grab. So while they were loading up all the other luggage, here I am taking apart this bag and putting winter coats on my kids and on me. Because as soon as we stepped out those doors and got our first real fresh breath of Germany, it was cold. It was very cold, going from palm trees and sunshine to cloudiness and cold. It was a very big difference. So make sure you plan your outfits upon arriving around what the weather is like here. It's gonna be a lifesaver. And lastly, number 4, your arrival and getting there. So let me just say, you are going to be tired, very tired. You are going to be so exhausted that the warm greeting you plan to give your sponsor and anyone else picking you up will come out as an unintelligible mumble and a slight zombified smile. Or at least that's how my sponsor said I looked. Later on, after I was well recovered, he's like, oh, you don't look like a zombie this time. Good to hear that. But you know what? It's okay. You're not being rude to them. They've made the trip before, so they know exactly what you're going through. And jet lag, it's real. So after loading up your family, maybe pets and luggage, you're going to want to see everything of the landscape of your new home if it isn't dark, and or you're going to want to pass out asleep on the way to the hotel, like I almost did several times. I was trying to ask our sponsor who was driving us, you know, oh, well, what about this? What about this? Where do you go from here? Blah, 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 blah. He's like trying to give us directions. And at this point, my brain is just so fried. I'm trying to take it all in, and it's like, I'm just trying to stay awake at this point, but it still was beautiful. We got there in the morning so we could see everything, and it was really nice. But while you are mentally and physically exhausted, do your best to keep those peepers open and soak in as much as you can, because you did it. You're in Germany. You are finally here, and it may seem surreal, but you're just sleep deprived. But trust me, staying awake will help you so much with this jet lag. It's going to be a battle. I'm telling you, you're going into battle with jet lag. But just fight through it. You can do it. Keep yourself awake. Head over to Starbucks if you are coming to Stuttgart and your hotel is on Panzer. They have a Starbucks in the food court. Head over there, get you some Starbucks, wake yourself up, make yourself do stuff. After dropping off your bags in your new temporary hotel home, head back out. Your sponsor will help you activate your military IDs for post access, and this is crucial because when we went to our room, dropped off our bags, I was ready to start undressing and getting in bed, closing the blinds and just going to sleep. And he's like, no, you're gonna want to get your military ID activated here. And this is crucial because it's the only way you're going to easily get on post. You can get on post without your military ID, but it's a lot more difficult because you have to go in, do a bunch of social security, punching in just a bunch of stuff. Whereas, you know, just flashing your military ID and them scanning it is a lot easier. And also, the only way you're going to be able to buy anything from the exchange or commissary is by having that magical military ID card. On that note, if someone in your family smokes or uses other tobacco products, they won't be allowed to get those anywhere on post until your spouse gets the rations cards for you. So basically, these allow you to get so many tobacco products a month. They sign them off. You have like single packs of cigarettes or tobacco dip, chew, whatever it's called. And then after that, after you run out, you only get one a year. So then if you run out of the singles, you have to switch over to cartons. So just a heads up. Now go explore the post you're on. Check out the hotel amenities. Ask the people at the front desk for a list of things to do nearby or on post. They do have those. Ask them for a bus route that's going to take you to all of the other posts. That's going to be a lifesaver because you're going to get to explore the other posts, see the housing, see what they all have to offer, like the movie theater. If you have school-age kids, like older kids, they have like a youth hub thing. It's just go explore your new home. Go explore the bases, figure out where everything is, the big commissary, the health clinic that's right behind the commissary. By the way, still saying this about Stuttgart. I don't know about any of the other posts, but I'm trying. And also check out the PX, obviously. That's gonna be your go-to for your big ticket items that you need to get. The USO, which if you are staying at the Panzer Hotel, the USO is literally right beside it. It's a huge, long building. The USO, I believe, is on the 3rd floor, and they're amazing. The volunteers there are so incredible. If you have kids, they have like story time, craft time. Make sure you take advantage of that. It's seriously so amazing and helped me out so much in my sanity when it was snowing. It was too cold to go outside, but yet there's a bridge that comes out of the side of the hotel that literally you walk straight across and into the USO building. So that was amazing for me. Also, they have internet. They have like an internet cafe. They have free popcorn. They have movies you can watch. They have movies you can rent. And don't take my word for this because I forgot to check this part out. But it's either ACS or USO that rent out strollers. So if you're thinking of bringing a huge stroller with you instead of shipping it in your express shipment or household goods, they have strollers that you can rent. All you do is give them like a $100 deposit. Whenever you're done with it, you get the $100 back. So that's amazing that they have stuff like that for families. I love the USO. I love them so much. They're amazing. Also, ACS, Army Community Services, is in that building. They're on the 2nd floor. They offer German classes that you can take. They basically teach you basic German just to kind of get you started. They give you tips and everything. Seriously, go into that building, explore it, and take advantage of it because the post office is also in that building. If you need to ship anything home, any of your new German goodies and souvenirs that you want to share with your family and friends back home, everything is in that building, and it's so amazing. Also, catty corner to that building. So here's the hotel, here's the USO building, really long old building. Catty corner over here to it is another building that is really important. That is where the in-processing is going to take place. Your spouse, your service member, whoever you want to call them, they are going to be going there for about 2 weeks to do in-processing stuff. They have to go to classes, and some of those classes are for you too. So here's the hotel. Here's the USO building. Here's the huge MCX parking lot, not MCX. I keep thinking marine terms. Huge PX parking lot. Catty corner is the in-processing building where your spouse will be taking classes. You can go to some of those classes. I'll get to that in the next video. They have the housing office is upstairs. The place where you pick up your German driver's license is upstairs. There's just so many things in these buildings surrounding this hotel that you really want to become familiar with. I'm using my hands a lot in this video. So check out the PX, the USO, your food court options, where I'm pretty sure you're gonna go a lot if you don't like to cook in your tiny hotel room, but it'll be okay. We made it work. Just get familiar to where you're going to be living for a little while. The next video I post will be about post-arrival, in-processing, and the wonderful housing process. So stay tuned, and that's coming up shortly. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up if it's helped you at all. That's my goal. I'm just trying to help anyone who is in our situation get here to Germany very calmly and hopefully a little bit stress-free. It's a little bit stressful, but trust me, if I can do it, you can do it. See you guys next time.